Crypto dads, ever feel like AI is getting smarter, but somehow less helpful? Like you're feeding the beast, but getting nothing back? Well, here's the kicker. You are actually feeding the beast. That AI that you're using, it's learning from you. It's using your inputs to get smarter for itself, but not necessarily to help you. That's where AI wrappers come in. These are the tools that make AI actually work for humans and not just itself. In this episode, I'll break down what wrappers are, why they matter, and how they your only chance to stay in control while the AI race heats up. Well, let's dive in. Let's start with the basics. What are AI wrappers? Not those type of rappers. But AI wrappers are actual apps or tools that sit on top of the language model, like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok. They're not the brains, but they're the interface, the skin, the user experience layer that is lacking with all these AI models. Think of it like this: the model is the engine, the wrapper is the dashboard, the steering wheel, or the cruise control. Think about that Formula One, driver's wheel. Or is it wheel? Or is it control? Is it steering wheel? That's right. Driver's wheel, Formula One racing wheel. There we go. All right, think about all those buttons on there. It's the engine's powerful, it can do the job, but it needs a navigator, right? And wrappers are the navigators. And some of the top AI wrappers right now, Perplexity AI, one of the best at giving cited responses. It's like if Google and ChatGPT had a research baby. Cursor, it's an AI coding buddy, which is inside your IDE. Devin AI, autonomous AI coding agent that runs end-to-end dev tasks. Replit Ghostwriter makes deploying apps feel like ordering a coffee. Notion AI, it's AI for writing, task planning, and basically knowledge management built into your workspace. All of these wrappers, they use models underneath them, but they're designed for you. So how are they actually becoming useful? Well, let's dive into some real world situation. All right, so we got some coding, right? Think about your side hustle. You're busy building a website, let's say the Dad's Gone Crypto podcast, all right, and you can use, the tools and templates that are already built, but you want to kind of go old school in coding because you want some custom stuff to happen on your website, but you don't know, exactly what to do. So you head off to old Fiverr and you scratch your head a few times because they're not delivering what you want. So this is where AI can assist you in helping to write the code for you. You just got to be specific in, exactly how it works. Cursor AI fixes the bugs, writes functions, understands what you're building, and guides you through it all in plain English. Because when you start looking at coding and you're not a coder, it all seems foreign, very foreign to me. All right, Devin AI automates the entire coding process. It's like having a junior developer, that never sleeps. And they're actually saying that, with the power of using these tools, you can basically replace engineers, mass levels of engineers, right? So you don't need so many when building a project. You just need guys that understand how to use AI technology, using wrappers to kind of, allow you to code better and conquering the tasks at hand at a faster rate. Research. So research is a big thing. You need to understand like a new market or maybe a legal document. And I just had it the other day. I threw a legal document in there and I say, hey, ChatGPT, is this legal document screwing me over? Literally, I said that, right? Because you want to know, like, is there anything in there that could harm me, could hurt me, or is it fair? So I threw it into there. It gave me a summary, and I'm like, okay, sounds fair. Then I went further to say, are there any terms and conditions in here that are not favorable and that could hurt me down the line? And then it unravels that story. So it understands it, in context to my market as well. Perplexity can scan sources, summarize them, and give you citation. On the business side, Notion AI can literally turn like notes into actionable items. AI agents like AutoGPT can do task chains, send emails, fill in forms, analyze PDFs. The pattern, they solve real world problems for real humans fast. Okay, so stop there for a second and trying to understand where these AI models are coming about. So it's big language models that need an enormous amount of data to learn, to grow, to improve. That's why X is doing so well, and Grok 3 is very, very smart. That's why ChatGPT is so good from the Microsoft's point of view. And of course, we've got Gemini and Google because they got mass amount of data. Think about all the searches, all the information, all the user engagements. It's learning from that. It's learning from the users. It's becoming smarter. So there's a race between these guys and more, and DeepSeek, I think now from China. There's a race to acquire as much data as possible so their language models are better and more supreme, and they can do more things. Do they have the user's best interest at heart? Well, yes and no. Let's start with no. They're training their model. The creator is creating something for their own gain. Think this is the way I see Grok. So Grok is phenomenal. It's Grok 3. Is it better than ChatGPT at the moment? In certain areas, yes. In certain areas, no. I'm actually using both because they both provide different solutions for me at very high levels. But why is XAI creating this autonomous language model, or not autonomous, let's say this learning language model? Well, what are they doing? They're building robots. And what do they want to do? They want to go to Mars. So they're going to send a robot to Mars, but they haven't got an intelligent bot just yet, a robot. The robot is learning to move and climb over things and survive. It's not able to think just yet. So what do you do then? Well, you build an AI language model and train it. And within 5 to 10 years, when they're sending, robots to Mars, it won't be humans, robots to Mars first, all right? It can think for itself. It can analyze. It can, the weather temperature is this. What should I do? Okay, my batteries are overheating. What should I do? It's teaching it. And that's why I think XAI is using human engagement to learn so that the robots can get smarter. So remember what I said, yes and no. No meaning, well, creator needs to create a better language model because he's got a future goal. Okay, so he's farming humans. Elon's farming humans to help create. And they're all doing it, right? They're all doing it. And yes, to make humans better and to make life easier, sure. But remember, it's creator first. That's why there was big issues with ChatGPT, all right, and how their stories unraveled because they saw the power of it. Instead of it being an open source, now they want to bring it back to a paid source, and people want ownership of it because ownership of the data is incredibly important. So you can see where this is going. The problem with these models are they're actually forgetting about the human, right? The human, we're engaging with this. Sure, find me 10 best places to take my kids on holiday. Okay, cool. It's easy, right? But when you start to train it and you start to ask it and you start to say, listen, create me a personality test, right, to help understand what my personality is so that I can plug it into Grok so that you can learn that when I want to create something, it has my humor, it has my personality, it has my cheekiness. And yes, I've been playing around with Grok, right? But what I've found is the more you feed it and the more you teach it, it can quickly go off track, and you can't unlearn that model, right? So you got a folder that opens up, and you've trained it, and you veered off, and it always refers back to that. Let's just say I said my personality is energetic, fun, humor, and then it kind of, when I asked it to help me out, with the sequence, it portrayed me in a certain way. And I didn't like that because it's not exactly my personality type. Then I said, okay, unlearn that or take that away. And then whenever I do future updates, it kind of always refers back to that. So the model, I felt like I broke it. So what you have to do is you have to systematically train it. And where you break it, then you got to go back and open up a new model and then retrain it and then not put those sequences in. So you can see it's frustrating. It's this back and forth type of thing. So I've had a lot of frustration with Grok. And then I love playing devil's advocate. I take Grok and then I throw it into ChatGPT and I say, all right, make this sound better, or do this for me. And they kind of compete with each other. So that way you're getting the best version of what you want. It's still not perfect. So that's where I feel it seems very clunky, and the more you play with it, it seems very difficult to really get what you want. They make it seem like it's easy and all knowing and all whatever, but it's very difficult when you really want to train it, intuitively. So that's where I feel rappers, can play an important role, and this is where other people, humans, you just got to love them, right? It's like, they find ways to make things just easier, better. And they're saying, oh, AI is going to take away my job and AI is going to take away my engineering job for coding. All right. But then you just get some other smarter human says, well, wait a minute. People are battling to actually use the right prompts, to get the right code, to tweak it, to manipulate, to change it. It's all so confusing. So another human that's an engineer says, well, there's a solution. There's a problem that I need a solution for. Let's build a wrapper. Let's integrate all these models together and let it spit out a better, more humanized approach to this model. All right, but I digress a little bit. Let's get back to understanding a bit more about the wrappers and raw models. Okay, so wrappers versus raw AI models. This is where it kind of gets a little bit deep. AI models like ChatGPT, Grok, and Claude, they're brilliant, but like I said, they're not built exactly for us. They collect data, they harvest our prompts, they analyze our interactions. So to make this model smarter, they have to do that, but it doesn't always make your life easier. They're basically farming us, right? They're farming our engagements. They have to make a better model. So they got to find creative ways. And some people actually just don't care. As long as it gives me the answer, right? They're happy with it. But, further down the line, it's going to bite us in the backside, I can tell you now. So every time you're basically typing, every time you're engaging and talking, you basically, fueling or training that model. And the model gets smarter. Once they've got this, XAI I think they've got an alternative motive for creating this big model. Put robots into Mars, colonize Mars with robots, then send humans. Okay. So understand their plight. When you think about Microsoft, it's a money-driven machine. They've infiltrated, co-pilots and all these things all over the world. So they might be seeing it as, yes, making businesses a little bit more, intuitive, making jobs a little bit more easier, staff a little bit more compliant with their thing. But ultimately, it's a model to make money, right? Think about 10,000 businesses all across the world. And they're asking their model, let's say ChatGPT is in the behind the scenes, they've built this model, and they can ask it, what is the core fundamental problem that all these companies are having? All right, and what is the solution? They can build a product for it. All right. If you don't own that model, if you don't own that language model or that AI, then it's hard to find out where 10,000 companies are battling with. So they can basically spit out these problem-solving solutions and charge customers for it. So from that point of view, I can see it's a business model. Google, of course, we know Google, everything and anything. They want to profile you. They want to understand you. They want to make money off you. You smile, and then they know that you want an ice cream, and they're going to throw ads at you. Okay. So it's important to evolve the model, because Google is obviously the biggest search engine in the world. Grok is slowly overtaking. But they need to build their model. They need to understand their humans. They need to make sure that their marketing and advertising is there. So, yes, great. Oh, this tool is helping me, but we're actually helping them as well, all of them, right? So now we got to figure out, how do we protect our data, but at the same time use these language models for our own purpose? And I think that's where wrappers come about. So wrappers kind of bring that soft touch. This is why AI wrappers are essential. It's not just tools. It's like mediators between, the different models. They add guerrilla rails, user experience improvements. They help with, tasking and training, privacy filters. natural interfaces. So it's a little more friendly. Imagine, trying to use ChatGPT to file your taxes. Oh goodness, no. So it's just not. It's not a fun way to do it, right? It's very raw and like it's rough. It's rough. It probably can do it, but it's rough, right? But not autonomously. So think about this. Like imagine having an AI wrapper that connects to your tax app, reads the files, uses ChatGPT in the background or Grok, or the other models, but but you never see this mess. It kind of just automates it, right? It's like that soft touch, and this is what wrappers do. They kind of filtrate all the way through, get the information, analyze the information, give you a report, and they wait for a prompt. Okay, what must I do now with this information? Okay, create me a PDF to send this or file for my taxes. So this will be perfect for crypto, right? Because now, we've got to do crypto tax, but we've done this, we've done that, we've opened up this account, and it's a whole big shenanigans. So it can basically assist and help by feeding it information, and it can tell you how much tax you actually might need. You might need to train it of how the tax model works, but once you've done that or led it to the right site with the right information, it can solve that problem. And this is not far-fetched. This is plausible, very plausible. So wrappers let humans use AI. So wrappers allow humans to use AI without needing to understand the tech behind it. It's kind of like getting people into crypto. It's rough and it's scary, and more than likely they're going to lose their money, right? Because it's clunky and heavy. And why should I have keys? Why should I have a cold wallet? Why should I, why can't I just use it? Why can't I just put my money into crypto and not worry about it, right? So we get into that stage where eventually, wrappers could help people onboard into crypto a lot easier without knowing all the heavy stuff. Is there a battle? Well, sometimes it feels like there's a war going on. The models want to learn from you, but you're also getting the value of the model. So it's like, would I not use ChatGPT? Would I not use Grok 3? It's become part of my life, right? So, so I understand what's going to happen later on, but I'm kind of a bit naive to want to worry about that. So I like worry about myself now, what it can do for me now, how it can improve me now. And then hopefully regulations and the model doesn't turn into, a human killing machine. Okay, I digress a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. I hope the model doesn't start controlling the world, or the robots start controlling the world, because then my kids have a problem. We'll have to prepare them. What's it? EMPs, electromagnetic pulses, something like that, where it just kind of neutralizes everything. Nutshell, we know AI now is not built for us. It's built for scaling. It's built for an alternative game plan. Wrappers are kind of fighting for you, creating this easier way to experience. Inside those wrappers, you could have filters, you could have privacy, to not let them understand what you're busy with. So there's a lot that you could stop them, but obviously now privacy and security needs to be wrapped within that wrapper. And that's obviously not my game, but someone else could do that. You could have a privacy layer saying, all right, you got these wrappers, but we're adding a level of privacy that it never really, takes your real personal information. And more importantly, we can all agree, obviously, as these models become more and more intuitive, so do you. And so will your vision of the future be. I always remember watching these sci-fi films where you wake up in the morning and it says, "Sir, you had a rough," oh no, that's not sir, it's master. Master Sean, you've had a rough night's sleep. Your REM sleep was only 43 minutes. You woke up 3 times to go take a whiz. This is not good for your health. And then I put my finger down and it says, your blood pressure is slightly elevated. And a cup comes out with some tablets and vitamins to reduce the stress and keep me calmer. So it's prepping me for the day. All right. Your vitals are this, your vitals are that. That would be a beautiful day, because before I even start the day, I already know the Bitcoin price. I already know the cryptos. I already know, my portfolio, all whilst trying to open up one eye and wash the face or jump into the shower, right, before I take the cold plunge. So it's coming, and I look forward to that day. And the models aren't that intuitive just yet, but that's where AI could fit in. AI wrappers could fit in. They wrap all these AI models and allow me to have a pleasant. Let's dig a little bit deeper on layers of wrappers. Okay, so think about these concepts are like wrappers on steroids. So they can string multiple tools together. Think about these different tools that you use, AI tools that you use in isolation. But what happens if you can wrap and they can all talk together to give you an outcome? What about planning workflows? So think about an organization, and you've got different people in the organization. So you've trained it, each providing information to this model, and then it kind of says, all right, now let's basically plan the workflow a lot better and also make some decisions on your behalf. So it'll intuitively get to know you and know what you want, and it can make better decisions. You can train it to say, listen, before 10 a.m., I'm in research mode. Send a mail, send a text, send a WhatsApp message to people that phone me, all right, saying, hey, just busy in a meeting, we'll contact you. And then when it hits 10 o'clock, then I have this list of messages saying, Sean, you need to phone these people first. Based on their tone, this seems a little bit more urgent. And it can categorize what I want. So it's using different tools to allow me to be more productive. Or can say, listen, phone this guy back at 3 because you don't want to speak to him. Quite possible. And then last one, of course, taking action. So now executing, right? Hey, Ara, I've got dinner plans, date night with the wife tonight. It's every Tuesday. Find me restaurants that are unique, that are tailored, that are romantic, that we can engage in conversation, and also make sure there's a bit of a taste experience. Do not replicate the restaurants that I've passed on 2 Tuesdays. Really build it out. So build out a good 2-month plan on restaurants with their contact details. And by the way, would you mind just sending, once I've approved it, so send me a draft, I'll approve. And once I've approved, please send them an email stating that I'd like to book an appointment for 6:30 or 7 p.m. On Tuesday. And please let me know once it's been confirmed. Boom. All right. Takes action. Right. That's pretty cool. So think about AI wrappers also as like power assistants, doing everything from automation, outreach. Think about it in this way. We tend to be, loyal to certain, loyal to ChatGPT because it was the first one that really gave me this information. And then Grok came out, and that was pretty cool. And then DeepSeek, can do this, and then we jump over there. It's like, why should we have to choose? Right? No ways all of them are good in all the different areas. So I'm finding Grok is great in certain areas. I'm finding ChatGPT phenomenal in different areas, and they've released a nice image model now, which is it's blown my mind. Myself and Ryan have a graphics designer on the books, and time that he takes to get back information is like here's the concept. I create the concept, I give it to him. Then he gives it to me a few days later, or a week and a half later, which is a delay. And it's frustrating because now when he gives me something back, he's more than likely spot on because he's really good at like that. But then if he's not, then there's a delay. Then I've got to tweak it a few times. And by that time, we've wasted so much time creating, branding and imaging and merch because we're busy with that at the moment. And it's frustrating. All right. So enter Grok. Into ChatGPT newest model, I'm like, holy smokes. I described it. I put it in. I got it right sometimes. I got it wrong sometimes. But it produced the image that I'm like, yo. Now I take that image, and then now I give it to my graphics designer and say, okay, take this, customize it in our style, in our brand, in our feel. But there it is. I love this. Just make it a bit better. Right? So, and instant. Didn't take me 14 days to get a reply. Right, instant, within 5 minutes. You have to understand how like mind-blowing this is, because everything's about time and delay. And I've gone through all the different branding options for that, and I'm like, yes, I like this, I like the style, I like this way. Now put it onto a t-shirt. Right, cool, boom. So it's changed the way I've done things and changed the way now I interact with my graphics designer, and I'm making him spend more focused time on actual productivity, so he becomes more productive. Because the more I'm like, yeah, but change this, yeah, but change that, it's delaying the process and it's costing us more money, right? So now I'm more efficient, and he can still create. Sometimes I give him free reign to create. That's not the issue. But generally with graphics designers, you got something in your head, and you gotta get them to try and understand that. And this is where ChatGPT and all these groks and all these AI models can assist with, in helping. So yeah, AI is yet to stay. But why should I use just one? I can use all three or all four or five. Final thoughts. Do we use AI or don't we use AI? Do we look for AI wrappers? Do we build AI wrappers to make our lives easier? I think you know the answer to that. So AI is here to stay. You can ignore it. All right. They've just invented the wheel. The wheel is round, and you can build things with it, and build wagons and build cars and build cogs and wheels and dams and levers. There's so many things you can do. You can do that, or you don't. Right? You stay in the dark ages. Well, in fact, probably this new language model is probably like the fire. Right? There's so many uses for fire. You can either use it or you don't. Right? If you don't, you're going to be left behind. Right? But at the same time, I just want to make that fire a little bit more cozy, right? I want to put it into a little fireplace. I want to make it more humanized. I want to make it easier to use, right? Safer to use. So that's where wrappers come in. So think about ways in which you could use the technology that other people are building and make life a lot easier for humans and solve their problems and their ways. So AI wrappers are definitely something to look out for. To wrap your mind around it, you need to do a little more deep dive in it. So play around, do your own research, and figure out what problems need to be solved. And the more you play with these AI tools, the more you realize they are clunky and they're not as fluid as you would like them to be. So solve a problem. What's your niche? What's your industry? And how can you solve a particular problem in your industry? Thanks for joining me. If this opened your eyes to a side of AI you did not think about, hit that subscribe button, share some comments below. What wrappers could be used for? What are some of the problems you'd want to solve? And we'll catch you next time. Thank you for exploring how tech is evolving and how dads can evolve with it. Take care, guys. Ciao.
The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.